Hey everybody, Mr. Parlanti here. This is the second video to go over how to format and complete your lab reports. This is part two, so we're going to focus on really two of the most important parts of the report where there's a lot of points to be had into your final grade. That's the data section or the results section, and then the conclusion. Now I really caution you that if you have not done the background section, just click off of this video and do your background section, because you really want to understand the concepts that go into the lab and how it connects to the problem and the variables, because if you don't understand that and have that clear, you're really going to struggle with the conclusion section. So let's get into the data part. All right, and we've actually done this quite a bit, especially earlier this semester, where we learned how to make tables and graphs on the computer. So that is going to be something that you should already be pretty familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and just make kind of a practice graph here. So I'm going to insert my table. So let's say I've got a row for my independent and dependent variable and some data points here. All right, and of course it'll format that and put it in there nice and easy for you. Of course, if you want, you could merge those cells so you have a title, or you can type it in above. So where I'm going to use the example we were using before, the effect of fertilizer, or I'm going to say something like, all you got to do is just come in, copy this stuff, right, and go ahead and paste it, okay? Bang, there it is, and then it's all, just go ahead and grab it and highlight what you need to do. Again, we've done this before, so I'm just going to throw a quick chart together just to show you what that looks like. So I probably wouldn't want a line chart. I might want a scatter plot, right? So I'm not going to format this the way it's supposed to be, but you'll notice too, if I put my independent variable in the first column, my dependent in the second, it'll already format it for you and put those labels on there, right? So, and again, I can customize this and put a trend line on there, right? That can be an important piece if you're graphing data like this, okay? So now I'm just gonna go ahead and, again, you can hit the three dots and you can download it, or you can just copy it and go right to your lab sheet, right? And then you would just paste that in there. Now, if you link to the spreadsheet, any changes you make to the spreadsheet will affect it. So the documents will be linked. I'll just do paste unlink so I get the straight image of it. And if you notice, it's formatted nice. This is what a data section in your results part of your lab should look like. You got your table, you got your graph, everything's labeled correctly, and you actually get 20% of your lab by doing this correctly. So that includes having the right kind of chart, having your variables in the right spot, and having everything labeled. So if I look at the actual checklist, right, you'll see, right, you should have a table and a graph. You have your independent, dependent in the right spot. All your data, including your raw data. So raw data is just your data table. Anything you measure and you collect should be in there. So some labs are really simple and you don't need a lot. Some labs you need more data points in order to get to your dependent variable. So I think the one we're doing now is the electromagnet lab. That should be pretty straightforward. And then, of course, scaling things, right? Trend lines, right? All neat, all organized. And then labels is just about having your proper titles and stuff on everything, okay? Now, so that's your lab report. Now, what I usually tell students, and this isn't a prescription. You don't have to format it this way when you do your final report. But what I usually tell students is when you get into the conclusion section, all right, what I suggest you do is you kind of break it up into 3 different paragraphs. I think this makes it easy, okay? So I'll highlight this in different colors so you can see what I'm talking about, all right? Usually 3 paragraphs will give you the main gist of what we want to look for in this part of the report. So the first part, right, restate the problem, okay? You've already done that. Summarize it. How did the problem connect to your background? That's stuff you did back here which is why I said if you haven't done your background section, make sure you do that now, okay? And then explain your experimental design. Why did you pick your variables? What did you want to know? And then you have a data analysis, okay? Data analysis is, what's the relationship? Is there a positive correlation? Is there a negative correlation? Is there no correlation at all, right? Are there certain things that you notice that are important? All you're doing is talking about what are the things that you see. You're not making any judgments about it. You're just analyzing the data. Here it is. Here's what it says, okay? What I highlighted in green, you can tie into a second paragraph, all right? And again, you don't have to do the 1, 2, and 3 paragraph formula, but I find it's helpful, okay? And then it's just statement of conclusion. What do you conclude? What is your answer to the problem you studied, okay? And then you revisit your hypothesis. What was it, and what data makes you believe that it was supported or not supported? And then what you should be doing is looking for a reason. So in this example that I used, you might say in this second paragraph, as I added more fertilizer, the plants in general grew taller. This is probably because the fertilizer provided more chemicals for the plant to grow more efficiently, right? You're relating it back to some scientific concept and explaining what the data should mean based on what you know about that actual concept. All right, so when you get into the green part, now you're focusing on the scientific reason as opposed to just what the data says, okay? And then the last paragraph, what I highlighted in blue, okay? We want to talk about what a valid experiment is, okay? And that includes, did I do enough tests? Were there more variables that occurred that you didn't originally account for, right? How do you have good data? How do you know? And your scatter plot, if you do one, can often tell you how well the data correlates and if that is giving you any confidence in if you have good data. So this section is my data good? How do I know? So I'm not looking for you to go ahead and say, this was a fun experiment, everybody should do it. That is not something that is important. It's more detailed about what you had seen. So it includes sources of error, right? Not human errors and not measurement errors. So I'm not looking for we measured wrong, okay? That's a very low-level thing to say and won't get you a lot of points, okay? How could any errors that did occur in your design affect your results? And then continuation, how could you use these findings to help you understand something in more detail, right? Or what other experiments might you want to know to extend on your problem statement that you had done when you first started this whole process. Now in this part here, you get some points for proper formatting and language. This is not a section, all right? But what it is I'm just looking for you to obviously have somewhat appropriate MLA formatting and to be able to, spell things correctly, have proper grammar, stuff like that. You only get 4 points in your final grade for this, but again, these are easy things with proofreading that you can do to kind of ensure your lab report is successful. So if you got any questions, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful, and good luck.